So the new bonnet has arrived. I have a slight concern in that I've been warned that the quality of the aftermarket aren't very good. I have to say, it doesn't look too bad. A bit disappointed that it turned up without the wrapping all the way around it, but and I haven't gone any further than this. But this doesn't look too bad, so we'll get it. We'll do a trial fit first and make sure it looks like it's all going to fit well before we go much further. Yeah. Right, so we've got our bonnet there. We've got our new bonnet here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take that bonnet off. We're going to lay the new bonnet in its place, and we're going to make sure we have a decent looking fit. And once we do that, we'll replace the old bonnet, and then we can look at assuming it's a good fit, painting and things like that. So that's just it lying in there flat. Any problems with it? Well, some of the edges are a bit sharp, and I managed to cut my thumb on it. I'm not sure if here, I'm not sure what that is, so we've got a little bit there, but that's not too bad. But in terms of its fit with the car, that's a lot better than I have. So I'm quite comfy with that. It's decent along here as well. Gives me reason to clean up and then repaint some of this stuff. So we will tidy up my thumb, and then we'll take this back off, put the other bonnet back on for use, and I'll come up with a plan of action over the next couple of days. Right, I washed the car yesterday so that I could look at where I want to paint, and it then rained on me straight afterwards, so it's all mucky again. I don't quite know how, but there we are. Right, so what are we going to do? So I've already mentioned I want to do these bits here, so we'll take these off. We'll cover the bumper, and we'll sand this back a bit and put some primer on and then paint it. Similarly here, we're going to take this light off because the ring on the inside I welded in after I'd painted and everything, didn't do a great job, so we'll take this off. And then when I painted around here, I just did it in satin black, so you can see here I need to just sand that down a little bit. So we'll tape over this, I think, or we might take it off and do this side as well. Okay, this is going to get replaced, the bonnet, and so we'll paint that at the same time. Then on this side, again, we're going to clean up and paint this. And then, I don't know what I've done here, but it's not very nice, so we're going to take this off as well. So basically we're going to paint this bit and the same on the other side. Now I do have runs within my paint job, but I'm going to live with that. So you can see along here, I think you can see a bit of a run there. So I have a number of those, and certainly back here you can see it a bit. So we have a couple of those, but I'm going to live with that. And I'm also going to live with here where I rushed to do stuff, and so I didn't make it smooth along here, I just painted it. So that's what we're going to do. And oh yeah, and then of course the bonnet's going, but it's been damaged along here a little bit, so we will touch that up as well. So that's the plan of action for today. So we're going to start by taking the lights off, and we're going to paint it outside for this bit. We'll keep the bonnet in the garage and we'll do that there. So we're going to start by taking the lights off, taping off and getting everything so that that's ready to paint. And we will get the bonnet onto my workbench, and we will clean off the bottom so that we can paint the bottom today, and then look probably to paint the top tomorrow, I think. Yeah, that sounds like a sensible plan, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I think this is how I'm going to do it. I need to I've sanded the back quite a bit to get rid of the rust in here, and with a wire wheel, and then I've gone with 600 grit on those bits there. So it needs another clean with some white spirit just to clean it off. On this side, these are spatter from Weld, and it's not coming out, so I'm just going to I think that should be okay from a rust point of view now, so I'm going to paint it and go with that. So we're going to get some primer on there. We'll get the primer on the metal primarily rather than the black, but you can see where I'm planning to cover. And then while that's drying, over here, what we're going to do is we're just going to take a file along the edge, because these edges here are sharp and I cut myself on them. Sorry, these edges are sharp and I cut my thumb on it the other day. So we're going to just, and even here, so we're just going to run a file around wherever we have sharp edges. Well, there's a very sharp bit just here, just to smooth that off, and then we'll put some primer on those as well. I got this at MG Owners Club, and it seems to be pretty good to me, and so anyone who wants to know, that's the part number from there, but it was the aftermarket one from the MG Owners, and it looks okay to me, so there we are. Alright, so what we're going to do is get some primer on there, do some filing here. Right, so I've been around now all of these edges which were really sharp, which was basically all of the outside, this edge along here and this edge along here. The ones on the inside were fine. So I've done, and I haven't checked these actually. Yeah, this is all okay. So I'm going to put a bit of primer on those edges. I'm going to get rid of the stickers, because that will get it ready for Bonnet's black. I'm going to put a second coat of primer on the bits of the car where it needs some primer, and we'll get a third coat, and then we'll move on to the base coat. Alright, we've put on a first coat. Doesn't look too bad, nice reflection there. Again, first coat up there, so that's alright. Bloody British weather. Look at that, started raining on me. So, that's just going to be awful now. Okay, so this is the underside of the bonnet, which hasn't come out too bad. A bit of paint settled on it after it was drying, from the air, because I don't have fans and stuff in here. So it's got a little bit, but that would come out if I were to buff it. So actually that's not bad. However, this rain, look at what it did. So if we look at this positively, that gives me the opportunity to enjoy painting again. So what we're going to do today, we're not going to try to do it outside. We've got fabulous blue sky, so you can guarantee it will start raining just as I'm finishing. So what we're going to do today is we're going to paint the other side of the bonnet, the top side in the garage. where it's protected. We're going to start sanding this down out here, and I think what we might actually do, because I'm not sure how well I'm going to end up blending it, although again a bit of buffing might do it, I might consider repainting the whole wing on both sides. But we'll see about that later, and when we do it, we will move it inside to paint. I'm not going to risk this again. So right now, concentrate on the other side of the bonnet. Right, so I've been sanding back this side. I started with 600, used a couple of sheets, decided I wasn't getting far enough, so I went to 400. You can see I've got mostly out, but we've still got a few dots in here, and I know those will show up. I'm hitting metal here. It's much harder there and in here. So I'm going to go to 300 now. And I'm going in the wrong order, but always start with, you know, get rough if you need to. So we're going to try that, then we'll have to send it back the other way. Might have to prime it again. You can, just to remember what it was like before. Oh my god! Anyway, so we're doing that, and then I did apply just a little bit of primer here where it wasn't, I had a bit of metal showing because I can't remember why. I gave it a rub down, and so I put some primer, and then this has happened. I don't know what that's caused by. So I'm leaving that to dry, and I'll then sand that and reapply. So yeah, great, everything going really well this weekend with painting. Okay, I've gone down to 320. You can see the scratches from that on there. I've then taken some white spirit to clean it off. So across here there are one or two that you can still see. Some just there, for example. Okay, and actually there's a couple up here which I hadn't noticed before. Oh, bloody hell. So I should really come up further than I have been. Oh dear. Then in here it's worse still. You can see quite a few in there, and into the pan here as well. I'm struggling to get them out. So what I've decided to do, and I know I'm going to have to redo some of this, is I'm going to try applying some primer and see how much of a difference that makes, if that gives it any depth and covers them at all, or if it makes no difference at all. Having done that, I'll know if I need to go back even further. I haven't even looked at the other side yet. So I think that's more or less worked. This is 2 coats of primer on here. I can still see a couple of dots in here where it was really, where's my finger there? Okay, so where it was really bad, but that's covered up fairly well. So we will do the other side in the right order. I think we'll have to come along this side as well. There's some bits here, and I think we're going to end up having to paint the whole wing, but we won't have to prime the whole wing. We'll just sand it to 600, I think is what we'll do, and repaint it. And so we're going to start on this side in the right order. So we're going to do 320 first and move from there. Okay, this side's gone a lot quicker because I went straight to 320. So I'm going to do another coat of primer there, and I'm then debating about whether or not I'm going to try to paint, and I guess I'll go check the latest weather forecast, because that's what's coming in. It looks a bit darker than it was, and we know it only takes a drizzle. So what I might do is I could move the bonnet further in, move all of this stuff out of the way, and just roll it so that the front's in the garage. That might be the sensible thing to do. Well, we'll see. Okay, so the decision was to take a risk, and we've got one coat on there, and we've got one coat on here. So it does look okay. Looks better than it did. I just hope the rain holds off for us. I was sitting in the back garden, I felt a drop of rain. I rushed around, moved it in as quick as I could, but I got a couple of drops on here, so I still got the third coat to go on. So I took my air and just blew the water off as best I could, and we'll see what it looks like. Certainly not as many drops as yesterday, but disappointing. Anyway, so we'll get the third coat on, then we'll have a look at it. Right, to put a third coat on, I think I can live with it. There were 1 or 2 dots in there from the rain. Don't want to touch it, but it's not too bad. We'll get a bit more paint still. Over here I made a... I don't know how well this will show up, but yeah, it shows. They've got 3 runs there where I lost a bit of balance whilst I was doing it, which isn't great. But you know, again, it's going to be one of those paint jobs. If you look at it carefully, it's not great, but from a distance it will look okay. So, and then similarly to the bonnet, I mean, nice reflection there. A bit more to go on, so we'll finish it off, and then we'll let everything dry and move the hardware over on the bonnet from one car to the other. From one bonnet to the other. I had a nice blue sky. I was finished for the day, so I went in, took a shower, came out. I moved the car out because it was a blue sky. Came out and look at that. It started raining. I hope that paint was dry enough for the water to hit it. I guess I'll find out in the morning. So there we have the bonnet in place, which to be honest isn't quite brilliant. So when I just laid it on there, you could get it centered and it fitted perfectly, but when I then bolt it in, what I'm finding is I've got very narrow here, and it occasionally catches unless I keep quite a big gap here, and you can see how it thins out across to the other side, and then over here we've got a huge gap, and then it's nice and tight on this side, but on this side it's a little bit up, so I'm not quite sure. I've been playing around with it and I just can't work out how to get the bolts to, what adjustment you've got in there, and I just don't seem to be able to particularly find any. So you seem to be able to move this side forwards and backwards based on the front bolt, and this side up and down, I think. So if I move this side forward, which is what I've got at the moment, and you can see I get really close there. If I move it backwards, it catches along the back, alright, and comes and hits up front here. Alright, so on the other side I can move it up and down. So if I move it up, I can't remember what happens when I do it on this side. But that's not secure enough for me. I want it tighter at the front, so I could tighten up the bolt, I guess, because it's locking very easily now. But I think I'm going to stop for now. I'll put the video up, and if anyone's got advice on actually how you can adjust the bonnet, that would be greatly appreciated.